What is going on, everybody? Today I wanted to talk about the top 5 things that I wish I knew when I started my weight loss journey. Now, for those of you guys who don't know me or know anything about me, I'm someone who used to be 300 pounds, was an athlete kind of my whole life, and it kind of, when I played, I was really heavy, but after football, I kept that train going and ended up getting a lot heavier. And there's certain things that I wish I knew as I was going into my weight loss journey. And part of it is why I created the keto lifestyle diet, is because there's certain things that I was struggling with and certain things that helped me overcome those. And had I started on this earlier, well, guess what? I would be a lot further than I'm happy where I am today, right? Like I'm 180-ish pounds, have a decent amount of muscle, still got that little jelly roll, you know what I'm talking about, that little jelly roll that's hanging there, but you know what? I'm not 300 pounds. So hopefully what I'm gonna go through can help you as well. And if you're brand new to starting your journey, maybe you can avoid some of the mistakes that I made. So first thing I wanted to start with is calories don't matter as much as food quality matters. Okay. Now that's not to say they don't count. They obviously do. But a big mistake that people start out with, that I started out with, was thinking all I had to do was track my calories. But there was an issue with that, right? As I was tracking my calories, I realized that, man, I am thinking about food all day long because I'm sitting here trying to fit things in. And yeah, common sense would say, oh, well, you should place a heavy emphasis on food quality and getting enough protein and fats and all that stuff. Well, I didn't think about that, right? Because the stuff that's online is everybody just says, well, if you want to lose weight and build muscle, you just got to work out and eat less, right? They don't really hit on certain things that I feel are super important to your journey. And so one of the mistakes that I made was I just went straight to counting my calories and, okay, I gotta eat 500 calories less to lose weight. And now, of course, I went a little more extreme. I think we all kind of go a little more extreme and do things that we shouldn't be doing anyway. But that's what I did, right? And I think a lot of people resonate with that because when you're first starting your weight loss journey, right, there's gonna be a lot of people starting every new year. And they're going to be thinking that, oh, the only thing that matters is calories. And then as they go through their journey, they're going to be constantly hungry. They're going to be thinking about food all day. And then they're going to binge on the weekends because they, number one, either cut their calories too low or didn't place an emphasis on food quality. And therefore, they spike their blood sugar all day. They have those insulin drops all day. Those blood sugar drops all day. And then next thing you know, cravings go up, hunger goes up, and their body's just trying to protect them and put them back at homeostasis, right? So all that to say, one of the things that I highly recommend is eating whole foods, okay? Single ingredient foods. Now, what does that mean? It means if it's in a box, you probably shouldn't have it, because what you'll notice is real food is not in a box, right? Even when we're looking at steak and all that stuff, like it might be in a package, right? Because people like to try and be a smart butt with that and be like, oh, well, steak is packaged, apples are packaged. You get what I'm saying, okay? So single ingredient foods. Example, eggs are eggs, beef is beef, an apple is an apple, broccoli is broccoli, right? The list goes on. And I would do the whole, we'll shop on the outer ends of the aisles, but here's the thing. Food companies are getting extremely smart. They are starting to put bad foods on the outer aisles because they know it'll get your attention. They know that's where you're trying to shop when you're getting healthy. So they're going to try and do that. So they will pay for that space for you to see their stuff, okay? Because if you didn't know how supermarkets work, they literally pay for the slots, right? Wherever they want the slot to be, eye level is what they pay for. And now they're paying for the outer aisle because they want to get the people who want to be healthy on their products as well. So all that to say, calories don't matter as much as food quality matters. You will not be as hungry. You will not have to overeat on your food. You will not feel like crap if you are actually getting enough food, which comes from food quality, okay? So that's number one. Number two is it's not about perfection. One of the mistakes that I always made was I'd be doing great for the week and then something would come up, right? Maybe I don't know, a family member would come to town or whatever it was, and I'd be like, oh, well, since I had this meal, I might as well start on Monday. And then that Monday turned into next month. And then that next month turned into next year. And it just was this constant cycle of lose a little bit and then gain it all back. And one of the main reasons for that is because I thought I had to be perfect. I thought that if I can't go 4, 6, 12, whatever weeks by being perfect, well, I might as well not do it at all. And so instead of starting on Monday, what I would do is I would tell myself, you know what? I'm just one bite away from getting back on track. It doesn't matter what happened. Yeah, maybe I messed up and maybe I knew exactly what I was doing and still did it. But all that matters is that I get right back to doing what I know I need to do. And that's what my advice is to you. Right? You don't have to, just because you can't be 100% doesn't mean you have to settle for 0%. You could still be 50%, 40%, right? One is better than none. And so you're just one bite away from getting back on track. You don't have to wait till Monday. You next day, right back to it. Next meal, right back to it. No, you don't have to get into another mistake that I make that's not on here is, a lot of people are like, oh, well, I'll just intermittent fast, or I'll just starve myself, or I'll just save my cow. It's not how it works, okay? You're promoting restrict and binge tendencies. You don't want to do that, okay? Your body's not going to be like, oh, well, it's a new day, so I'm just going to, since you detoxed, right, that's what people call it, I'm going to make it better. It's just get right back on track, okay? Third thing, and this one might get some flack, but working out is not a weight loss solution. Is not a weight loss solution. Guys, I owned a gym for 5 years, and I had people, by the time that I was done with the gym, closed the gym down, one of the things that always bothered me was that there was people there who still looked the exact same from when they started 5 years ago, or they looked worse. And it wasn't for lack of trying, right? Our workouts were amazing. It wasn't the workouts. It was that they refused to listen to me about nutrition. And no matter how many times I would talk to them about it, they wouldn't listen, right? When I would do like nutrition seminars for the gym, we'd have like 10, 12 people showing up. And guess what? Those 10 to 12 people, you know who was transforming? People showing up, right? And so that's the first thing. But in my experience as well, I was working out 7 days a week, 2 times per day, right? Because I was watching those YouTube videos. I wanted to build some muscle. I wanted to lose some body fat. And they said, you got to work out and eat less, right? Now, part of that was I kept eating a lot of food and a lot of bad food because I would back it up with, well, I'm working out. And that's what a lot of people do as well, right? You think, oh, well, since I'm more active, I could just eat more and more food, not realizing what you're actually doing. Okay, so trying to outwork a nutrition problem is going to hurt you in the long run. You're not going to actually get where you want to go because you think that you could out-train a bad diet, and it's going to eventually fail on you. And there's just so much that goes into that, right? And so that's a big mistake that I made, though, is I thought that if I just worked out like crazy, that I would actually see the progress that I want to see. And that wasn't the case. Get my throat wet a little bit. So don't make that mistake, right? I'm not saying that working out is not important. One of the things that we do is first of all, the only time I tell our people to work out is when they get closer to their goal, okay? Because then we need to, get our tone tight, lean. You want to kind of look at a little bit athletic. You don't just want to be all saggy. You don't want to have those so-called bat wings, all that fun stuff. However, we do a proper strength training program later on in their journey. Now, if they want to start working out right away, we provide that for them as well, but that's totally up to them. The only time I tell someone, hey, it's time to start working out is as they get closer to their goal. Why do I do that? Because nutrition is the biggest domino. If you don't have your nutrition in check, nothing else matters, right? It's like people who, well, I want to fix my gut health. I want to fix I want to optimize my hormones. I want to do this. I want to do that. I'm like, you haven't even started tracking your food yet. Let's start there, right? We gotta master the fundamentals before we can actually progress. And it's the same thing with our workouts, right? Nutrition is 24 hours a day. If you're doing your workouts properly, for me, it's an hour and a half a week, right? Maybe a little bit more than that. Well, 24 hours a day versus 1.5 hours a week, well, which one do you think is more important? Nutrition's obviously one that you have to take care of. And so You might as well focus on that. And then once you master your nutrition, then you can start your workouts. Okay, so that's my recommendation. That's a mistake that I made. I put so much emphasis on my workouts. I prided myself on those. I went crazy with them, and I wasn't making any progress. So, fourth thing is sugar is an addiction. Now, I know that there's going to be some people who disagree with this, and that's totally fine. You're entitled to your opinion. However, your opinion is wrong. And the reason it's wrong is one of the arguments that people like to make is, well, you're not going to the cabinet and eating a bag of sugar. You're not going to anything. But here's the argument to that, is try eating a cookie with just the fats and just the carbs. No sugar, just the flour, just the fats. Do you think you're going to keep eating that cookie? Or is it going to be absolutely disgusting? It's going to be disgusting, right? You need the sugar to make it sweet. And so people will say, oh, it's the combination of the sugar with the fats. And it's like, no, because if you have the combination of the fat and the flour, it's going to be nasty without the sugar. And the other part of this too, and this is where it really hit home, is my mom is a drug and alcohol counselor. I asked her, because I was curious. I was like, hey, I feel like we're a little addicted here. We call ourselves the recovering carboholics. And can I see your syllabus? I crap you not, that when she sent me her syllabus for the stuff that she takes, the steps that she takes her patients through, I could have replaced it with food. And I know it probably sounds insane, but I've literally had conversations with her about things that our members experience. She goes, that's how it is with drugs. It's like, yeah. So it's pretty crazy, right? And when you're looking at certain things, and you're like, oh, well, sugar's not an addiction. That syllabus says otherwise. The same things that people do are right in there. And so if I had realized that earlier, I would have been a lot further away, because here I was listening to all the noise, listening to everybody out there thinking like, oh, well, I can have sugar as long as it's in moderation and I'll be fine. Like, no, it was just making things worse, because guess what? As soon as I have it, I just want more of it. Right? Now, it's not our fault. I get that there's associations with pleasure for it, right? And I'm also not saying that you have to go forever without it. That's a miserable existence. Right? There are times that you need to have those things: birthdays, holidays, anniversaries, get-togethers, multiple other reasons to have it, but we don't need to consume it like it's pushed out there, right? We don't need to have it every day. And that's where people go wrong. Okay, which kind of leads into my fifth point here, which I'll get to in a second, but I just want to hammer it home that if you've struggled with food and you think that because some social media influencer says sugar's not addictive, like no one's eating sugar out of the bag, you really got to think about that, because there's so many foods that we would not even touch had it not been for the sugar in there. Okay, so don't let somebody make you feel bad for the addiction that you have. And by the way, this starts at birth, right? The reason we get addicted to sugar is because it's also in breast milk. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of saturated fat in there too. Bet you didn't know that. Or maybe you did. And then it's so funny that people still try to demonize it when it's literally given to us at birth. And people can say, oh, well, same thing for sugar. No. Listen, the reason it's in breast milk as when we're born is because it's a way of getting the baby to eat those nutrient-rich foods. The problem is that as we get older, actually, I won't say it's us, I will say it's our society, that big food companies, big sugar companies are putting sugar in food that is not nutrient dense, right? There's a big difference between, adding sugar to applesauce and eating an apple. Huge difference, right? And so this starts at birth. That innate of, this actually, think about a baby, right? If they cry, what do they want? They want some booby, or they want some formula, which has sugar in it as well. And it's because they associate, this is going to give me some pleasure. This is going to take some pain away. Well, that continues into adulthood. We just lose sight of it attracting us to nutrient-rich foods and instead turn to the crappy, processed, hyper-palatable foods, okay? So that's the difference with that. And then the last thing kind of ties into my fourth one, but is moderation does not work for me. And for the people that we work with, we are recovering carboholics, and it does not work for them either, right? Because I don't know about you, but I don't count my cheesecake by the bites. I count them by the slices, right? I want multiple slices of cheesecake. One is not enough. Matter of fact, as soon as I have it, it hits the reward center of my brain, and I just want more of it. And so I get that it's sexy for coaches and these programs say anything you want in moderation. Well, you got to ask yourself, how's that worked for you? And if it's worked for you amazingly, guess what? You're probably not watching this video right now. And so I'm going to talk to the people who are. Because the reason you're watching this video is because you know something's not working, right? Or you wouldn't be here. And so if you're like, man, I keep trying to do the moderation thing, but it just makes me want more and I can't get over this addiction. And, I know it's so sexy to say, oh, heal your relationship with food. Guess what? It's because it's easy for people to sell. Tell someone that they have to eat real food. Tell someone that they have to, cook with real fats. Tell somebody that they can't have all the donuts and lose all the weight that they want. And boy, that's a lot harder to sell, isn't it? It's not sexy. What is sexy is saying, oh, well, you just heal your relationship with food and have anything you want in moderation. So if you want a donut, you can have that donut. Okay? Well, I'm sure you've tried that and it hasn't worked, right? Do you think that we don't know that we should be having foods in moderation? But here's the other thing, because I could spend like all day on this, is don't you think that it's funny, the people who say, oh, heal your relationship with food, but they're not actually talking about food? Do you really think that something with 10,000 ingredients, like, I don't know, hot Cheetos, is food? I don't. I think it's fake food. Does that mean you have to go without hot Cheetos forever? No. But do I think you should be trying to fit it in every single day? My opinion? No. Now, if that works for you, cool. We are not going to work together, okay? But if it doesn't, well, then you understand what the problem is that you have all these people trying to tell you to fit these foods in moderation, and moderation doesn't work for you. It doesn't work for me either, though. I know myself, and I know that there's certain foods that I can't fit in. I know that I'm addicted to food. And just like my mom's syllabus, I know that if that's like telling a drug, oh, just have a little taste. Just have a little taste and you won't be addicted to it. You'll be fine. It's going to happen, right? So moderation doesn't work for me. And so those are the 5 things that I wish I knew before I started. If you want to, hopefully those help you if you're getting started in your journey. And if you've been with me a while, hopefully, you've heard this story before, but I figured I would share it to everybody. So if this helped you in any way, please comment down below and let me know. And if you feel like it'll help somebody else, don't hesitate to hit that share button, okay? I appreciate you guys, and I will talk to you next time.